So the meditation for today is in 3 short sections. The first, I want to say that I have been in Scotland, especially at Iona. And Iona is an island, and it is considered to be the birthplace of Celtic Christianity. And it is beautiful. And I was there with a pilgrim group. I'll be back to that in just a moment. But before I left, and I think this was on Easter Day, I was communing right here. I was communing our children. And I was going down, trying to hurry, because we had a lot of folks at church on that day. And so I was communing each one. And when I pulled my hands, lifted my hands back to the plate, on my wrist was this bracelet. Now, it is a pipe cleaner. It is a beautiful orange pipe cleaner with 6 beads on it. It was all I could do not to cry. It was so tender. It was done so quickly. I didn't feel anybody do it. I just looked down and there it was. And I thought, what a wonderful way to take St. Luke's with me to Iona. So you were on my wrist during my travels. And when I said my prayers, I could look down and give thanks for everybody, for all of you, those I know and those I don't know, but I know your faces. And so I was so grateful for this travel gift. And I wanted to share that with you. My time in Iona was pretty remarkable. Iona is a small island off the coast of Scotland. I think there are no more than about 210 to 20 people living there. It is not a big island. There's not a whole lot of commerce going on there. There are some stores where you can buy some things reflective of Scotland and Iona, but still what it's meant to be is a place of rest and renewal. And I found it to be that. We were very fortunate. We had a group of 16, and each one of us had a private room. Ooh, that was wonderful, because that hadn't happened up until that point. And we spent 2 weeks going to different places, but 3 to 4 days at Iona. So it was nice to have some privacy. And it's also what they call a thin space. I don't know if y'all have heard this term, a thin space. And what that means is you get the feeling that you have stepped into a place where heaven and earth touch. That there's just this sense of beauty in the spirit while you're there. And if you'll just let yourself fall into that space, you are filled with a sense of what heaven must be like, a deep sense of peace, and also of creation, because Iona is beautiful. If you walk the shore, which is what my daughter and I, my 2 daughters went with me, and that was probably the glory of the trip for me, was sharing this with Sarah and Elizabeth. And Elizabeth walked the shore every day and collected shells and glass and all the treasures that the seashore can sort of lift up. So she did that. My other daughter, Sarah, is an artist. And she went out every day with her art supplies and found a place, and she painted. So she's been sending me these beautiful pictures of Iona. And yours truly, what did I do? I rested. I was worn out after Holy Week and Easter here. It was a great wearing out. But I thought, what I need from this trip is a deep sense of rest. And that is what I did. And it was just wonderful, very restorative. So I gave thanks for the time that I spent there. I'm trying to see what else is on my little sermon here. I haven't written one in about a month, so it's hard to get my eyes adjusted to continuing to track my writing. Okay, thin space, yes. Okay, all right. Iona is the embodiment of Isaiah 30:15. And I wrote this down so you could hear this. In returning and rest, you shall be saved. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. And I really believe Iona, if you are able to go there, that is what it embodies. You return, you rest, you gather your strength. It is a blessed time. Finally, I call your attention to our reading from Acts today. That is a great reading. In it, the disciples of Jesus, especially Peter, are being taken to task for breaking purity laws. They are eating with Gentiles. Oh my goodness, how dare they? But that's what you get from that reading. What are you doing? They are asked. Eating with those who are not clean. And that meant those who have not been circumcised and their families. Peter and his followers were chastised for this. And Peter recounts to them his visions. You know, there are a lot of people I've heard say Peter was just the dumb disciple. Have you heard that? I mean, you will get that. Peter's just not quite with it. I disagree. I've always disagreed. Peter is deliberate. And you can see that deliberateness in his response. He says, he takes them on, all the criticism, and he says, I had a vision. And he doesn't do a lot of elaborate things. God came down and told me this and that. He just says, in this vision, something like a tablecloth was in front of me, and on it were all sorts of creatures from the sea and from the air and from the ground. And I looked, and as I looked, God said to me, Peter, kill and eat. And Peter was horrified. No, Lord, I cannot do that. That is unclean. And God says, basically, Peter, what I have made clean, you don't have any right to call unclean. Kill and eat. And I think it was 3 times that this vision happened. The tablecloth went up, the tablecloth came down. That's an easy way to remember this passage. I love that image of a tablecloth. So, Peter then, at first rebels, but at further urging through his visions, he realizes that God's unbounded love is for all. That's the bottom line. This is the message here in this story in Acts. God's love is not just for me and these disciples. Jesus' resurrection, Jesus' love is for everybody. And that, my friends, is a pivotal moment in the life of Christianity. It as is at this moment that the message is Jesus' death and life is for the world. It's for everybody. We are not keeping this unto ourselves. Wow. Now here I am back at St. Luke's, wearing a bracelet that I wore the whole time I was on my pilgrimage. I was on pilgrimage in a holy place called Iona that was just full of the Spirit. You could feel it. And now I'm back. And what I'm very aware of is we wouldn't be sitting here today had those rules not been broken. This is our faith. This is our religion. No, says God. This love is for everyone. Jesus died for everyone. Amen. Would you say that again? Amen. Yes, amen. Jesus' death was for us all. Jesus' love is for us to give to one another and to this wild world, which in these days is wild. So we trust in that, and we give thanks for that. And I give thanks for Acts. Read a little more, because there are more passages like this in the book of Acts. I'm grateful for the love you've given me. I'm grateful for the love I continue to receive. And I am grateful for the reminder that Jesus is Lord of all the earth, of everybody. And ain't nobody got a corner on that. I don't care who's standing at the tablecloth. And with that, all God's children say,